Broadcasts of the City of Neenah Common Council meetings are produced by University Studios of the University of Wisconsin-Fox Valley. Neenah residents can get information about City Council meetings, City Committee meetings, meeting agendas, and other documents via the City website, www.neenahgov.org. Neenah residents can express their opinions about city issues or about these broadcasts by contacting the mayor's office, contacting their city alderman, or by completing the electronic feedback form on the city website, www.neenahgov.org. All public portions of the meetings are recorded in entirety and are not edited for playback.
I'd like to call the Common Council for the City of Neenah meeting to order for Wednesday, August 1st, 2018. The first item of business will be the roll call, and then we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. The roll call, please answer the clerk as your name is called and sign in on the roll call machine, please.
Alderman Boyette.
Here.
Bates.
Here.
Hillstrom.
Here.
Lendrum.
Here.
Erickson.
Here.
Lang.
Here.
Steele.
Here.
Coons.
Here.
Stevenson.
Here. All members of the council are present tonight. There's a quorum present. The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Alderman Hillstrom.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, God, indivisible, liberty and justice.
All right, well, welcome everyone. First day of August. Storm just blew through here, this neighborhood a little while ago, so I hear they're cutting some trees up in that by Riverside Park and Washington Park area, so came through pretty good. So tonight we're joined with by Adam Vanden Heuvel, Assistant City Attorney's here in place of Jim, so welcome Adam. I think this is your first official. So thank you very much. Before we get started, would just like to say thank you to Council President Stevenson for filling in for the last 2 weeks for me and watching things here and signing documents and doing things for us. So thanks, Todd.
Welcome.
Yeah, he ran a tight ship. I heard it was an hour and a half meeting last month.
Almost ran out of ink.
So we did really well. So I appreciate everyone's what everyone did to get through that. My wife and I enjoyed ourselves. We were on a cruise in a land and sea package in Alaska, celebrating our 40th wedding anniversary. So to Renee, I'm sure Renee watches this. Renee,
Passionately.
Congratulations to her for making it 40 years with me. That's a accomplishment in itself, but we had a great time. I would say this, it was not on my bucket list. I wasn't overly looking forward to it, but I will say this, after experiencing Alaska, I highly recommend it. It is, it's the last bastion of just majestic views, and the fact that the people there want so much to keep the area pristine and environmentally clean, and they live, without things that you and I live with every day, and get used to phone service and internet, and it's a beautiful country. The animals, the moose, the bear, the grizzlies, the brown bear, the caribou, seeing moose in their habitat, and knowing that no one can hunt in the Glacier National Park or Denali. Only 26% of the people that visit Alaska get to see Mount Denali, formerly Mount McKinley, because it's always fogged in or it's always clouds. And we saw it for a day and a half. So it was just really cool, and had a wonderful time with about 14 friends. So thanks everyone for letting me get away, and I'm refreshed, and we can get going, and it won't be long. We'll be doing budget. So this was a little good getaway, so appreciate it. And you all did well while I was gone, so that's awesome. And I didn't have any doubt that things would go well without me. So, second item of business is any mayor's appointments, and there are none tonight. Third item is the approval of the council proceedings of July 18th, 2018 regular session and the July 18th, 2018 committee of the whole session. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
There's a motion by Alderman Lundrum,
Second.
seconded by Alderman Stevenson. Is there any discussion, corrections, additions, or anyone want to talk about any of those minutes? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion to approve those two sets of minutes will vote aye. All opposed will vote no using the roll call machine, please. That motion passes 9-0. Item number 4 is a public hearing. There's a public hearing tonight to consider amending section 26-152, paren 15. You can see which sections are being amended of the Neenah zoning code that will modify the minimum shore yard setback for principal structures or uses and accessory structures or uses. So this was considered in the Planning Commission, and tonight we have a public hearing. Is there anyone here who would like to address the council on amending those sections regarding shoreland zoning? I will open the public hearing for that. Anyone here? Okay. Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing. We will go to item number 5, and that's the Plan Commission report that pertains to that public hearing. Alderman Lang.
Thank you, Mayor. Reporting for the meeting of July 24th. Minutes can be found on the city website. There is one item to report. The Commission recommends Council adopt ordinance number 2018-10, amending sections 26-152, paren 15, section 26-178, paren 15, section 26-199, paren 13, section 26-2020, paren 13, section 26-237, paren 9, and section 26-303, paren 10 of the Code of Ordinances relating to the shore yard setbacks, and I would so move.
Second.
There's a motion by Alderman Lang, seconded by Alderman Erickson, amending those sections of the Neenah zoning code. I'm going to ask Brad to just give a short synopsis of what this is. I think anytime you amend the shoreland zoning, there might be people out there that, are interested in that. More of an issue up north in the North Country, but exactly what this does in a Reader's Digest version.
Sure. So this is actually it started in 2013. The state passed Act 80, which allowed municipalities to reduce the shore yard setback from 75 feet to 50 feet. It's something that I know that we've talked about, Chris and I, in our department for some time. Now seemed like a good time to move forward with it. So prior to this act, basically any properties that the city annexed from unincorporated areas, towns, from 1982 to 2013, when this act went into effect, required that we follow the shore yard zoning or shoreland zoning of the county. That shore yard setback for the county was 75 feet. So for consistency purposes, we've always held 75 feet. I don't know if it was probably in the early 2000s, we actually amended the code to reduce the shore yard setback for C2 properties, which is in our downtown, and I2 properties, which is our industrial, or I2 is general industrial, to reduce those from 75 to 50 feet. For consistency, and because of this act, we felt that as we continue to grow west, we start running into streams and small water bodies that are difficult to develop around because of the 75-foot setback. So for that reason, we're proposing the 50-foot. One of the questions that come up specifically are how do we deal with properties that are currently along Lake Winnebago, the Slough, and the Fox River. Our policy and how we've consistently interpreted the shore yard setback is we still apply average setbacking. So, for example, if you're on South Park and all of the properties are 75 feet back, and one property is undeveloped and they want to go to 50 feet, we would not allow that. We still do average setbacking. So if the average setback is 75 feet, that's where that structure would have to get built. And that's something that we did even with the 75 feet. So there's examples where people actually couldn't go to the 75 feet. They had to stay with the average setback for those properties on the block. And we would continue that. So really this impacts as we grow to the west.
I appreciate that explanation, and it's for incorporated municipalities and villages.
Correct.
And so up north in townships and that 75-foot setback is still in play. Is that correct?
Yeah, depending
Chances
on what.
are.
Yeah, most likely. Yeah.
Okay. And then, like you said, the other thing that I talked to Brad just a minute before we started, I think the average setback is important too, because you won't have 8 houses that are all in that 75, and then someone tears one down and wants to go closer to the water. They will not be able to do that. Is that correct?
And I will make a point too. This came up at Plan Commission in regards to floodplain. This doesn't override any floodplain setback. So if you're within a 100-year floodplain, which a lot of the properties are along either the rivers or the lakes or the streams, that where that floodplain boundary is still what it is. In a lot of cases, it's further away than 75 feet.
Right. It's mostly for the areas west of the city where we would our growth areas and annexation. Thank you, Alderman Bates.
Thank you, Mayor. On the Plan Commission minutes, and I'm sure the agenda, under the action items, it says, for existing development, which we were talking about, the average setback at the yard will still apply at plus or minus 5 feet. Is that where you're kind of saying, we didn't have to say 75 plus or minus 5, but kind of what's in the area?
That's correct. Yeah, we've always, as a policy, always took into account the average setbacking. Obviously, you don't want one property closer to the lake where someone's going to lose visibility. We want consistency.
Got it.
So that's how we interpret that.
Got it. Okay, so I get, because it was kind of, it was saying at plus or minus 5 feet. And so the explanation is not actually part of the ordinance itself?
Correct. It's not.
But so how do we, in the ordinance itself, how is that kind of addressed? I should go to the ordinance.
It's how we've interpreted it. It's been our policy. We don't have a specific language that says we will take the average. It's just a policy that we've had in our department for a long time.
Thank you.
Could someone challenge that policy in a court of law if they wanted to, if they said the county zoning and that says 50? Or that policy that we adhere to?
I suppose anyone can challenge any ruling that we make. I think because of we've interpreted that consistently, I'd feel pretty strongly that we're okay with it.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, thank you. Alderman Lundrum.
Thank you. My question was answered by his presentation.
Anyone else? Good. All right, so we had the Plan Commission report. There's been a motion by Alderman Lang, seconded by Alderman Erickson. All in favor of amending those sections of the Neenah zoning code will vote aye. All opposed will vote no. With the roll call machine. That motion passes 9-0. Thanks for the explanation, Brad. Item number 6 is a public forum. Public forum is an opportunity for any person from this community or outside to come and address the city council or the mayor on any topic that they would like. All we ask is they give your name and address for the record, and you're allowed up to 5 minutes to speak. Is there anyone here who would like to speak to the council on the public forum? Seeing no one, I will close the public forum. There are no consideration of issues. Item number 8 is the consent agenda. Is there a motion on the consent agenda, please?
Move to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Motion by Alderman Lundrum, seconded by Alderman Hillstrom. Anyone have any comments? There are 2 representatives here from the Doubletree, I believe. Is that correct? Welcome. Thanks for coming. If anyone has any questions on anything, otherwise, Alderman Stevenson.
Thank you, Mayor. I was just wondering I'm not sure I saw anything from Gord's Bar regarding their map. It was asked for in committee.
Did they submit their map yet? Okay, so they haven't brought it in yet. There is the contingency that it will not be issued unless they bring the map forward. The map in the past few years has been from the south end of their property to probably the middle of Eagle Nation. And it's just the street. So the portion that is in front of their business. But we can either wait or Addie can.
I could forward that to you when she comes in with it before we issue.
I was just curious if we'd seen it yet.
Yeah, that's a good catch. So that's a contingency. It won't be issued if they don't bring a map in ahead of time. So we'll make sure we remind them so that doesn't get biased. But historically, it's the same footprint as in previous years, okay? And they do use blocking. They use barricades and that, and to shut the street off at Doty. So where their footprint is, they have some barricades at Doty and at Torrey, so that cars don't come down that way. Alderman Bates?
Thank you, Mayor. Going along with what you said earlier about can somebody contest it, always say in the contingency is they submit a map. If they just submit a map that says I'm doing it from the middle of Uncorked to the Historical Society, there's some sort of reasonable, it's the footprint we understood it to be.
I have to sign it.
Thank you.
All right, anyone else? Alderman Stevenson?
Just to follow up to that, I think the reason, I'm not speaking for the committee, but we've noticed most recently that the submissions have not been as detailed as they have been in the past. So this was a statement saying, we know if it's the same, we know how it works, but it wasn't submitted, so we don't know how it's going to be. So it was just a council's way of saying there's a procedure that requires some detail, and we just don't want to get lax on it.
Okay. Thank you. Is there anyone else? Seeing no one, all in favor of approving the consent agenda items, please vote aye. All opposed, vote no, using the roll call machine. That motion passes 9-0. So those items are all passed. Okay. You're welcome to stay if you'd like, but your item is taken care of, just so you know. I invited you to stay, though.
But you don't.
Thanks for coming. All right, appreciate it. Item number 9, report of standings committees and consideration thereof. The Special Public Service and Safety Committee meeting, that will be Chairperson Bates.
Thank you, Mayor. Special Public Service and Safety Committee meeting of July 24th. The minutes can be found on the city website. Committee recommends the council approve the findings of fact and conclusions of law and uphold the beverage operator license non-renewal for Rebecca I. Sauer, and I would so move.
Second.
There's a motion by Alderman Bates, seconded by Alderman Hillstrom, to approve the findings of fact and conclusions of the law and uphold the beverage operator license non-renewal for the stated person, Rebecca I. Sauer. Any discussion? All in favor, vote aye. All opposed, vote no. Using the roll call machine, please. That motion passes 9-0.
Reporting out from the regular Public Service and Safety meeting of July 24th, 2018, the committee recommends the council adopt ordinance 2018-11, creating Neenah Code 3-32, providing for a penalty for animal causing damage or injury, and I would so move.
Second.
Alderman Bates moves, seconded by Alderman Lendrum, to adopt ordinance number 2018-11. Discussion. Alderman Coons.
Thank you, Mayor. I hate to put Adam on the hot seat right away, but a question. Looking at the minutes and trying to figure what this is, I assume this is meant so we have some violation that police can write someone write them a citation against. But do we right now? Could they write a citation for that dog not having a dog license, which is often the case?
If in a separate incident, if the dog that bites someone also doesn't have a license, then yes.
I ask that because it is one. I think it's been there. It's been available. I don't think it's been utilized, and so I'm concerned about creating new ordinances in which the police seem to be reluctant to utilize in the first place. So it is a concern.
Police shouldn't be writing animal not licensed for a dog that bites someone if that animal is licensed, though.
No, yes, but oftentimes the dog is not licensed, and from my understanding is we haven't written anything on that. So when we didn't have anything, it was at least something, and we didn't even do that. So I'm concerned about the utilization of this, and maybe that's really a question for the police chief in that concern, and it seems like, or maybe the chairman of the council seems to have a clue to that.
Alderman Bates.
Thank you, Mayor. We had this discussion, and often they do write a citation for the not having a license. What happens generally is when they go in to see the municipal court, it is often waived if you go get one, because our aim in all this is to getting the dog license so they know that they have the rabies vaccine. So that's why oftentimes it is waived, because then they will instantly go over there and get their dog licensed and make sure that it has the rabies shot. So we're encouraging people to get the rabies shots and then the license. And so this, on the other side, would be your dog caused damage, either it ripped up somebody's yard or bit somebody's dog or something. You should be responsible for that.
Good explanation. Compliance is what we're really after. And this municipal judge has stressed that in many cases. And sometimes it's as simple as it's been licensed for 2-3 years. April came along, they just forgot. And so he gives them that opportunity. But that's the court. So there's 3 branches of government. Under state law, there's a state penalty for a dog biting another dog or person also. So it could be charged under that.
Except Neenah hasn't adopted that.
They could still charge them under a state.
Oh, correct. They could present it to
state
us.
statute.
Yes.
They have that ability. So what we're doing is we're giving ourselves the ability to charge them under municipal law.
Correct.
Okay. Alderman Boyette.
I'm just curious where the fees are going to go for this. If somebody's dog bites somebody and we imply this fee, where does that money go? What does it go for?
The other penalty.
So does it go in the general fund? Is there a project that this money is going to go to for education, or is there?
I'm assuming this would run through municipal court then, Adam, so it would probably be no different than a speeding ticket.
Correct.
Okay, and then is there a severity level, like a nick without skin breaking? Is this fee, or the severity of the bite? Or is it just a bite and here's your ticket?
So the ordinance is written to give police the same discretion they have every day that they work, right? So a car goes 2 miles over the speed limit, they could ticket that. It's the same thing here. If an officer gets called to a dog bite and sees that, there's...
So they're all treated equally then?
Correct. There is not a level of severity required for this citation.
Thanks.
I'd be careful of calling it a fee. It's not a fee, it's a penalty.
Fine.
It's a
fine.
forfeiture, penalty
Sure.
forfeiture.
Sure.
And the court has that discretion to alter that ticket in any way.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Bates.
Thank you, Mayor. And there is an escalation if the person has had one before. The second one is more expensive.
Right,
So
yep.
we're trying to make sure that you get one and you're done. Don't let your dog bite anyone.
All right, thank you. All right, so there is a motion and a second to adopt ordinance number 2018-11, creating the Neenah Code, Section 3-32, which provides a penalty for animal causing damage or injury. All in favor of that motion will vote aye. All opposed will vote no. Using the roll call machine, please. That motion passes 9-0.
And that concludes my report.
Thank you for your report. Item number 10, there was no Finance Personnel Committee meeting. Item number 10 is report of special committees, various special project committees, and consideration thereof. There was no report from the Plan Commission. Item number B is the Board of Public Works meeting of July 24th, 2018. Vice Chairman Hillstrom.
Thank you, Mayor. The minutes from this meeting can be found on the city website. There are 4 informational items this evening. First one is the board approved pay estimate number 4 for contract 1-18 miscellaneous sewer and water main construction and street construction on Andrew Avenue, Richard Avenue, Geiger Street, and Whiting Court to David Tenner Corporation, Green Bay for $142,486.10. Second item, the board approved pay estimate number 1 for contract 2-18 miscellaneous sewer and water main construction and street construction on Cecil Street and Adams Street to David Tenner Corporation, Green Bay, in the amount of $202,985.31. The third item, the board approved pay estimate number 3 for contract 3-18 Nature Trail Subdivision street construction to MCC Incorporated Appleton in the amount of $185,970.48. And the last item, the board approved change order number 6 for contract PR 01-17, the Fox River Loop the Lake project in the amount of $11,023.99 to Pfeiffer Brothers Construction, Neenah. And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Alderman Hillstrom. There's a lot of construction going on in the city. There's just one thing, as long as we're talking construction, I just want to, because I've been getting more and more calls, emails. I've been getting a few on Nextdoor, on Facebook. Joni's gotten a few people asking why such a crummy job was done on the blacktop of a repair job or something. That it, in their words, that it looks not good and that. So just so aldermen know, and Jerry, I might have you explain this better. When they do cuts, if they do sidewalks, there's a lot of utility companies right now working in the city that are digging up the concrete sidewalks. What they do is they do temporary patches, as I'm told. Those are not the finished product. They're temporary so that no one falls in the hole, so that they don't get hurt. We do the curb and gutter. We do sewer grates. Lots of times they're on sewer grates. Our guys go in, they fix them, they readjust them, and then they temporarily put a patch on it, and then they come back at a later date and do the final product. I believe it's to give time to settle. So, but if someone says to you, boy, this looks bad, it's not, usually 9 times out of 10, not the finished product. They will be back to do the final. Am I close on this, Jerry?
Yeah, I would probably say 98 times out of 100, but
okay.
Yeah.
Good. So we've just been getting more and more calls and questions on it, especially with these, many times it's not the city, it's the utilities, right, doing these work. So, and if there is a real hazard or something, we call the utilities. Jerry gets the engineer and says, hey, you got to go out and you got to do a better job. We ran into that on Tuller Road when they did their patch. It was not a very good patch. So just wanted to bring that up because I think it's important. You may get asked that at some point. All right, item number C is the Landmarks Commission. The report is Alderman Ling.
Thank you, Mayor. The Landmarks Commission did not meet in July, so there is no report.
Thank you. Sustainable Neenah Committee. Alderman Coons.
I have no report this time.
The Business Improvement District Bid Board. Alderman Lane.
Sorry, but we're on a roll. There is no report because the bid did not meet in July.
July is kind of a good month. So the Berkshire Mahler Museum. Alderman Erickson.
Thank you, Mayor. The Berkshire Mahler Museum of Glass board meeting is going to be held at the end of this month, so I have no report as well. But I would encourage everybody to visit their website for many activities, camps, and classes. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. There are no petitions. Any council directives anyone like to address? Being none, any unfinished business from anyone? Alderman Boyette?
Yes, thank you. I'm confused on something. During Alderman Hillstrom's report, there was nothing reported out from the final payment on the Washington Park releasage of the retainage, and I'm just curious as to why that's not reported out to the council.
I wasn't here, so.
They decided that the board had decided back in late last year that the final payment was the actual final payment. They were leaving it to the discretion of the department head to release the retainage when everything was found to be accurate in the project, complete.
But to my knowledge, everything isn't accurate and complete because there's still 2 issues that are underlying that have not been corrected, or at least I have not been reported that they were corrected. And I've brought them to council several times. So I'm just curious why this isn't being reported out. And why the final payment was allowed when
Final payment was approved back
the
in
retainage
December.
was allowed. I'm sorry, the retainage was allowed when there's still 2 issues.
Did the council take action on the final payment in December?
Yes.
So the council took action on the final payment in December.
But there's still
with the provision that the final $5,000 would be released when the department head felt issues were taken care of. The department head feels the issues are taken care of. I spoke with you earlier today. I'm going to ask. I've asked him if, in his mind, if he feels the issues that you addressed were taken care of, and he told me yes.
So the parking lot was corrected?
He told me yes.
Okay, thank you.
So if you don't want to bring that up further, then I would suggest you bring it up, ask the Park and Rec Commission maybe to look at, you don't think the issues are taken care of, that are still outstanding. And
correct. Right, thank you.
Alderman Bates, did you have anything to add?
Yes, I was going to say that we did talk to Director Kading, and he did mention that the sloping of the grass in the skating area, he said, has been addressed. He said he realized it was like people driving through it, and rains and things like that had caused that problem. We did not know about I didn't specifically hear anything about the parking, but that's something we should bring up. And the other thing I was saying is, I seem to remember that when we went through the final payment and the retainage, I believe we all kind of asked that once they did do the final release, they would at least report it out. And I don't think we officially put it one way or the other, but I think it'd be a good thing to do, at least as an information.
Number 2. So I will talk. We will go back and look at the minutes and that. And I think there was kind of a discussion that it would at least be reported out, paid out.
That would be good. Thank you,
Alderman.
If I could just add one thing.
Yep.
Alderman Bates, it was reported by myself here at the council meeting the night that Director Kading was absent due to his wedding, and I had brought it up. I don't know if that would trigger your memory or not, but that was the evening that we had questions, and there was no staff from that department here to answer them. We were directed to speak with the Park and Rec commissioners.
Mayor, may I speak?
Go ahead, Alderman Bates.
If you could reiterate what the question was with the parking lot, was it the directional flow of the water? Or?
There was parts of the parking lot, the brand new parking lot, the pavement, that have standing pools of water when it rains. And with being a very expensive parking lot and brand new, I would think it would have proper drainage because from my recollection, this whole thing started due to improper drainage. So it's an expensive project and it's taxpayer money, and we're not any better off in my eyes than we were in the beginning because we still have drainage issues. And we're paying people to do a job that I don't feel was taken care of properly. So I'm very concerned about it, and I'm just continuing to follow up on it. Thank you.
I will have some further discussion and we'll learn anything. I will forward that
I appreciate it. Thanks.
in myself. Okay, anyone else have anything on unfinished business? New business, any announcements or questions that may legally come before this body? Alderman Bates, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to remind everyone that the new locations for voting will be used this election, and the election, I believe, is August 14th. Is that correct? Oh, City Clerk? Yes. So find out where your new place. Are we mailing out cards?
Everyone that was in, go ahead.
Cards were mailed on July 9th to every registered voter in those 4 districts.
So look in your mail.
Mm-hmm. We will also post a sign on August 14th at the old polling places. We'll have directions on how to get to where they need to vote now.
Thank you.
Thanks for that reminder. And just in conjunction with that, early voting is now open too. So if anyone would like to early vote for the August 14th election, you can come into the city clerk's office and you can early vote. So that's going on already. And I think we do a really good job of giving the citizens an opportunity to early vote if they want. So if you don't want to stand in line, although I don't think on August 14th there'll be big lines, but if you want to get it out of the way, come on in and early vote, correct? That ends August 10th, okay? I know I'm going to call on Carrie in a minute because I forgot there is the car show, but first of all, just let me, the Mayor's Golf Outing will be on Monday. If anyone in the audience, this will be played, I think, Thursday or something, so Tuesday. Okay, so Mayor's Golf Outing is this coming Monday for any of you who would like to come out and golf. We have mornings and afternoon shifts out at Bridgewood.
Maybe you could announce the winners tonight, since it'll be.
They're
based on history.
Good, you could. Yeah.
Mike is running. Mike is running out of room on his trophy shelf in his office. So, yeah, Todd has been there too. So, yeah, that's okay. So we're hoping for good weather on Monday, and goes to firefighters do this, and the money goes to local venues. So it's really a good opportunity. Legally Blonde is going on at Riverside Park. And I'm hearing that they're selling out right now, which is really exciting. And that ends Sunday night. The last show is at 7 p.m., which my wife and I are going to. So Legally Blonde, if you get up to the Park and Rec and get some tickets, I guess it's a great show. Heather's daughter's in it, so really good. You're not in that one, are you? Okay.
That blonde.
Blonde enough. He's not blonde enough.
He's a mean girl.
And we also have a car show coming up this weekend. Carrie, you got any details on that one?
I do. When you go to the farmer's market on Saturday, this Saturday, the 4th, put your lawn chair in your car and hang out after and watch all the exclusively European cars, show cars, come rolling in. They'll formally start about 2 or 3 o'clock. I think the road actually closes at 2, the Wisconsin Avenue from Commercial to Oak, to the Theta Clark Bridge Street, which is Oak. That will close, but if you bring your lawn chair and you get some egg rolls and you eat your fruit that you bought at the farmer's market, you can watch them set up. But if you don't want to do that, come back, because this is not your father's car show. This is going to be some very unique European cars, some gems, I think I've heard quite expensive cars, very unusual cars. And there might be some brats frying up down there for you. But then when you're done with that, don't forget to go to one of our many bars and restaurants while you're already out, you're already downtown, you're already in Neenah, you're already dressed. Might as well hit up some of our good bars and restaurants. So it'll be about, I think it's from 3 till 9. So you've got many hours to get down there. Just wander around the cars. It's free. Chat with the people bringing in their cars, because we want to encourage them to come next year, because they frankly are spending a lot of money on our local stores, our local shops and restaurants. So I want to encourage them to come back. That's
All right,
it.
thank you. I've heard that some of these cars you'll see parked in Stevenson's driveway once in a while, his garage, but the Lamborghinis, Porsches, Ferraris. When they came and talked to us about this, these are those types of vehicles, and they're expensive cars, and they're really cool. They were talking, Chief, they were talking about doing a drive through the city. Is that? Have you heard anything about that? Okay. Because originally they were going to, I don't know if they're doing this or not, but they were talking about meeting at the high school, getting a police escort through the city of the whole line of European cars, which I thought would be pretty cool. And I don't know if they're doing that anymore, but you haven't heard yet, huh? Okay. Well, they're going to be down there, and it's going to be kind of unique. First time they're here in Neenah, so that's going on. Is there anything else anyone wants to promote or anything? Okay. Okay, Alderman Erickson.
I just want to compliment everybody who worked on Bazaar After Dark. I have heard so many comments from people who live in that area and from residents of the city that they really appreciated that that event was held in Neenah, and I think it was a very successful event for the city.
Thank you for reminding me. I was out of town, but I've heard and received almost all positive comments. There was a couple questions about parking. I also want to say I've learned our staff had a big hand in, not just, helping organize it, but actually boots on the ground. The Community Development Department, Chris and Brad and a couple of other folks were there helping put up, take down, and help to make it a success. I know the Chamber was really happy with the turnout. As I understand it, it's estimated 7,000 to 8,000 people, conservatively, is what they were talking about. But I don't know too many other details, but most of the comments I received have been very positive up to this point. So, so thanks, Chris and Brad and everybody for getting this done. Okay. Jerry's crew, you guys helped, and also the police department had a good presence there. And that is one of the things that in one of the emails I got, the person told me they appreciated the fact that we were being proactive, making sure that law enforcement were on site, and sometimes that prevents problems from even starting. If people know that, that there's not going to be, we're not going to put up with, certain types of activity and behavior, and having the police there and having them visible. And this email said that they weren't huge fans of these types of things, but they said under a controlled environment and the fact that the police were there and were not letting anything get started, they said that this was a very well-run event. So I just passed that on. Alderman Lane?
Along those lines, I just wanted to remind everyone that we also dedicated that second traffic box wrap that night with the police department theme, and was very well received, and we're really proud of it. So take a look at that on South Commercial and Cecil Streets.
That's the police department. So in the fire department will be next, correct? Good. Thank you. Anyone else? 45 minutes, not too bad.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Alderman Stevenson moves for adjournment, seconded by Alderman Lindrum. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. We are adjourned.
Broadcasts of the City of Neenah Common Council meetings are produced by University Studios of the University of Wisconsin, Fox Valley. Neenah residents can get information about City Council meetings, City Committee meetings, meeting agendas, and other documents via the City website, www.neenahgov.org. Neenah residents can express their opinions about city issues or about these broadcasts by contacting the mayor's office, contacting their city alderman, or by completing the electronic feedback form on the city website, www.neenahgov.org. All public portions of the meetings are recorded in entirety and are not edited for playback.